It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
6 to be exact. Selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, silver up those bells like the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman as we engage in some seasonal shenanigans. Oh, feels good. Feels good, Dragon.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. So, of course, Mickey Fan and I, Alex and I, we just recently did a 12 Days of Christmas sing-along, at the end of November, at the tail end of November, kind of a transitional piece to get us into this. But now we're here, man. Now we're officially at the precipice of the holiday season. And I am excited. I think we've got an eclectic selection this year, but you know what? Eclectic is very appropriate considering everything going on. And, we could have done like an apocalyptic thing if we wanted to. We could have gone like, all right, like, let's see, we're going to do like Krampus and, Silent Night, Deadly Night and stuff like that. But no, we're
a little bit of Black Christmas in there just for good measure,
Right,
yeah.
right. That could have been the theme of 2020, but we're going to keep things humble.
Just all death and hopelessness, but no, we're much like Charlie Brown. We're not going to let commercialism, or in this case, near apocalypses, get in the way of our Christmas.
Right, absolutely. So, Dragon, with that in mind, we're unwrapping the first thing tonight, the first of 6 presents for this year. What is that present, friend?
Funny you should ask. It's you're following the gift sensation of holiday movies a couple of years back. It's the Christmas Chronicles Part 2.
That's right. That's right. This first movie was produced by Chris Colombus. This time around, Chris Colombus is stepping into the director's chair for the first time since Pixels. Now, Dragon, this movie's definitely gotten some divisive reviews online. I haven't looked into many of them, but I've looked into a couple of them, and it's interesting, like the 2 reviews that I did see. One of them was, this is really weird, but the weirdness is kind of what makes it, the Kurt Russell, Grizzly Adams Santa Claus thing. That's what makes the movie. And Dragon, I feel like you and I are on that side of the coin when it comes to this franchise. And then there's other people that I saw that were literally just like, this is the worst thing ever. And I'm like, whoa, hold your jets, man. I mean, first of all, this can't be worse than Pixels. It fundamentally, it just can't be, Dragon. I refuse to believe that this is worse than Pixels. But secondly, man, I gotta say, I think this was delightful. I really do. I think this one, it kind of unbiasedly, I will say, Dragon, if it wasn't for Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, if it wasn't for them, I don't know where this movie, there's definitely some cheesy stuff in this movie that we'll get to. There's definitely some Hallmark Christmas moments that don't necessarily hold up. And I will say that, the design of the elves from the Christmas Chronicles, that's probably one of the big what the fuck things about the franchise. And yeah, I think they're an acquired taste. I've acquired to them, but I still think they are a little bit in the uncanny valley. Having said that, Dragon, I think this is a super creative, fun sequel. We do repeat some of the same tropes as the first movie, but we also get a really creative and energetic villain. And it's someone that we know, Dragon, that I'm sure you enjoyed. And overall, Dragon, I enjoyed this one. I went in very hesitant because I was hearing some negative buzz around it. But I guess, the low expectation thing for me, it just kind of, I was thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say it's a little long. That's the one thing I will say. This movie doesn't have to be almost 2 hours long. It could very easily been an hour and a half. But other than that, that's just kind of a nitpick because, even then, it wasn't like the movie dragged for me. It just doesn't feel like a movie that should be this long. All right, Dragon. So, what do you think of Christmas Chronicles Part 2?
So, I think we all, at the very least, we all fell in love with Kurt Russell Santa Claus. I mean, I know I did. I know you did. I mean, but because again, it's one of the coolest takes on Santa Claus ever. I mean, let's be honest. It's just he's
It
freaking
feels like
awesome.
Kurt Russell just pretty much like modeled his whole career to eventually play the Grizzly Adams version of Santa.
Which is, again, seriously, I rewatched the first one before this one, like the week before, and I gotta tell you, first Christmas Chronicles, again, whenever Kurt Russell's on screen, it's the best time ever. Awesome. So there was hype for the sequel. At the very least from us, there was hype for the sequel. And then, again, I was a little trepidatious. Do we need another one? But then again, Chronicles is open-ended. Chronicles, and there are others to tell.
I think this could be an ongoing franchise, Dragon. I really do. And
it could be.
And I think Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, I mean, it's just a chef's kiss chemistry there. So we'll get into it.
So, here's the thing. I enjoyed this. I liked it. I didn't love it like the first one, though.
Okay.
Very firmly. I didn't love it like the first one. I did like it, though. Here's the thing. The first one, there's a charm and simplicity to the original, where this one, for the most part, I feel there's an upgrade on the narrative, and some of the thematic ties. I think some of the thematic dots are connected well here, which I can really appreciate in this sequel. And look, at the end of the day, look, there's nothing wrong with more Kurt Russell Santa Claus plus Mrs. Claus to boot. So nothing bad comes out of this movie. Truly, I mean, it's all a good time, all in the spirit of fun. Basically, Tiki, as you kind of said, to repackage it. It's the Christmas Chronicles. It's like a Hallmark movie with some really some Kurt Russell teeth applied.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is, Dragon. And I can get into that because Hallmark movies on their own aren't really my thing unless they have like some sort of weird so bad they're good quality to them. But I will say that the Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn thing absolutely just elevates this. It gives it an air of like they are absolutely giving it their all, Dragon. There is no irony in either of their performances.
Because there's always been like a dedication, and basically the thing with Christmas Chronicles is with the Santa Claus of it all has one of the most inventive takes on them. Again, it plays it very straight, but also again has wonderful loads and loads of illogical logic to if Santa Claus are real. This is what would happen, which sells you on it even further.
Dragon, I think the best way to sum up this franchise is it is absolutely the Santa Claus for a new generation.
In Tiki, I think it's the perfect way of putting it.
Because they're not perfect movies, they're not like critical darlings by any means, but they're fan favorites.
Certainly, and again, obviously this franchise still coming into its own in that regard. Presumably, they're going to make another one. I know that. I wouldn't be surprised if Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn want to make another one, because who would fault them? Because they have a good time doing these.
I mean, at this point, it's kind of like Adam Sandler getting to make a movie with his friends on the beach, right?
Pretty much. It's like, yeah, we love Kurt Russell saying, let's do another one. I don't know what the story is, but let's just put it in the works. Obviously, they're going to need to reach a point. They need to decide if we're going to keep bringing the Pierce family back into things. But that's a conversation.
I think later. We need a movie without the Pierce family.
I know that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we do like an,
I think that's probably. Are you and I in agreement that?
Yeah. That's I think
the biggest element.
We can only get. Well, we're in agreement to the fact of I think this is as much as we can do with the Pierces. I don't think we can do anything past this.
Sure. I mean, Teddy's pretty much run out of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. I think if we did this with Teddy, we can only do so much. Anyway, we'll get to that. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I love the Hallmark movies. Period. Honestly, I mean, I don't love all of them. Again, I love for the most part. I love certain Hallmark movies more than others. But outside of the rest of the Hallmark movies, is kind of turned into sort of like it's kind of the cliche fest around the holidays for sure. But again, it's like you pick on the patterns, like that's why But then certain ones, it's basically when a Hallmark movie is tailored around a star, it really pops. It's like a star or a premise or something like that. That's when it kind of pops. In this case,
we're going to get into another one just to tease it up. We're going to get into another one. I don't think it has star power, but it definitely has a high concept that I'm excited for.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Even like I would never say Hallmark like a dirty word, but Hallmark is definitely it's kind of like a household word for.
Well, when people say Hallmark, they know what they're getting. Yeah. It's like comfort food almost.
Exactly. I mean, you know how you pretty much know how it's going to go. I mean, it's going to be like a third act thing. That's what I'm saying. There are So basically, Chris Colombus is kind of like that, but just a little above the Hallmark formula.
Sure. Okay,
right.
So with that in mind,
yeah.
All right, so why don't you sum up the plot, Dragon? Good luck.
Okay, here's the movie and fast forward, kids. Follow me on this. All right. So, it's 5 days before Christmas, and the Pierce family are spending Christmas in Cancun. It's Christmas in Mexico. All right.
And look, it's Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah, so the Pierce family, they're in Cancun with Claire's new boyfriend, Bob.
Bob.
So, Bob.
Did he have to be named Bob? I'm just saying, it calls to mind Stranger Things.
I know, I had the same thing. Thankfully, good things happen to this Bob.
Right, yeah.
Thankfully. And it's on Netflix. Netflix Bob, it's another Netflix Bob.
Uh-huh.
So, they're going to Cancun because of Claire's new boyfriend, Bob, and she's been seeing for like 10 months now.
Same exact character, too. Oh, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, so Kate, she sends in a proposal encroaching with old Bobby here, which worries, basically, it makes her worry that her mother essentially, in essence, is replacing her father, which really kind of bothers her. Like, we're kind of forgetting Dad, we're moving on from the old status quo in a really major way. If he becomes, if we make it official, we put a ring on it, that's not good. For status quo's sake. So meanwhile, as this is happening, a disgruntled ex-elf, and no, I'm not making that up, a disgruntled ex-elf by the name of Belsnickel is, he tricks the prospective runaway Kate into being his Trojan horse with Bob's son, Jack, in tow, basically using them as a Trojan horse to enter the North Pole. So as the kids get the royal tour of Santa's village, soon to be renamed, we meet Mrs. Claus. They're meeting Mrs. Claus. Things are going great. Belsnickel, meanwhile, he steals the Star of Bethlehem, which essentially is the power source of Santa's village and/or Mrs. Claus's village, depending on your preference. So basically, the movie devolves into a race to undo Belsnickel's Christmas chaos within our Christmas Chronicles. Along the way, Kate works through her family troubles, and Jack finds courage. Good for him. And we end with some happy Christmas caroling.
Yeah, we do. Oh, God, it is very, very happy Christmas caroling, Dragon. It's triumphantly happy Christmas caroling.
And
all right.
Global Christmas caroling, one could argue. And
okay.
That's all she wrote, yeah.
So let's get into the characters. Of course, Kate Pearson is the one that we're going to be following the most. And Dragon, I gotta say, I think this conflict is a little forced, man. We already went through her letting go of the lost dad in the first movie. I don't know.
That's where you. I mean, here's I'm gonna make the distinction though, Tiki. That was more Teddy's story, though.
Yeah, I guess that's a point. Sure.
See, that was the thing this one did. I kind of respect that. Okay, so Ted.
But I guess in that respect, though, it's one of those sequels where it's like kind of just like switching the genders of the character who went through the arc. I always kind of think, a la Incredibles 2. I'm sorry, but I always think that's kind of a lazy way to do a sequel.
Right. Anyway, I didn't see it that way. Kate here, I liked it. We kind of framed it a la Teddy, as in if it's a coming of age sort of thing, where she's growing up, so she's kind of facing a similar thing, but again, less applied to these the whole unresolved issues. It's more like this is a kind of a relatable kid thing, where we've lost a parent and we have a new guy coming in, and kids are gonna feel a certain way about that, as any of us would. We're replacing kind of an icon in our lives. So I really liked kind of the relatability of what she was going through there, where again, the whole movie is really about closure and moving forward. That's kind of the big perspective theme with a lot of our characters here. It's about, kind of getting closure. And I mainly love how Kate parallels our villain of the piece, but I'm going to save most of that for when we get to said villain. But, basically Kate's thing in this movie, she's trying to use Santa Claus, which is a big defining experience from the last movie, as kind of a form of escapism, as her runaway solution. I'm gonna run away to the North Pole. Me and Santa are besties. It'll be great. Why not? Of course, very we don't like entertain that as like a whole like like a liar reveal or any such BS. We don't do any of that here, which is good. We just do a thing where we instantly nip that in the bud. But again, she's still feeling like, well, at least I'll get away with my problems for a little while, and then she kind of gestates it as things go wrong.
Sure, sure.
And she kind of becomes Santa Claus's sidekick, where Teddy was kind of the main one until the last movie, which is kind of nice here and a little adventurous.
Did it
Christmas.
bother you that we unceremoniously wrote Teddy out of the movie?
I mean, yes and no. Okay, so here's the thing. So I figured going into this, when I saw that we have a new kid in the movies, okay, Ted's definitely good. I wasn't surprised by it, but I just don't.
Just how blatant it is about like, oh, bye, I'm just gonna be gone. I'm not planning on checking in on you.
I mean, I like that he's a nicer guy, though. I like that he maintained the arc from the first movie.
Sure.
That's why I'm okay with it. But it's like, yeah, I mean, you knew going into it, Teddy wasn't going to have a big.
I do like at the very end the whole like "Merry Christmas, Teddy." Yeah, that was nice. That was a good payoff.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think Teddy. I mean, yeah, he gets 3 scenes, but it made sense though because we tied up his story already. It made sense. He does have one scene that's kind of rough though. He has one scene out of his 3 it's very expo heavy, but outside of that, it's fine. So yeah, basically, ultimately she comes to grips with the little change in status quo, and basically comes to the realization, you can't change the situation, and you can only accept it, which is it's a grown up realization. I like that. Okay, let's talk Jackie Boy.
All right, man, this kid, like, he's not terrible. Credit where credit's due. He has great chemistry with Goldie Hawn.
Yeah. What's funny though? Are you familiar with Tim Meadows at all?
Name sounds very, very familiar.
See, I know if you watch the Goldbergs more, it'd be easy to kind of give you like an instant reference there. He was on SNL a lot. Well, during like the Will Ferrell age, I believe he was kind of there. A black comedian. He did like a lot of the OJ sketches back in the '90s.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I think he's really funny. I see him on the Goldbergs all the time, and School, the spinoff. And point being, this kid has a very kind of he's like a young Tim Meadows in his introduction. I really love that. So he has definitely had some fun delivery. Where it says, well, you're only 3 years older than me, but I do respect the chain of command. Like, Tim Meadows has that really pleasant demeanor about him in his comedy style, which is really nice.
The kid, I guess one refreshing thing about this kid, I mean, I don't think he's by far, he's easily like one of the weaker parts of the movie, honestly, for me, but I don't think he's terrible. One of the more refreshing parts of him is the fact that, he could just be like the precocious, know-it-all, little brother type character, and he kind of is that. But I like that they send him and Kate off on their own arcs with the 2 different clauses. I think that was a good fix to having it just be kind of like a tag-along little brother character.
I agree. Basically, the problem with the kid is he's kind of saddled unceremoniously with the B plot, which again importantly, he's paired with Mrs. Claus, which is great. But again, it's like not a lot that he gets. It doesn't really. I mean, he saves the reindeer. That's really his. He saves the reindeer, and he kind of helps.
He's got the one big moment with the cookie, and that's pretty much his arc.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's okay. It's you're not wrong. Okay, you're not wrong, but it's like it's okay. Gets him with Goldie Hawn. It's fine. So it's I like just with him though. Before we move on, I like that I like how he is in contrast to Kate, where he's the guy and he represents the status quo. He embraces the change. Like, yeah, let's go with family, and he embraces basically things like we're going on this crazy adventure. I gotta kind of tap into some cookie magic, mind you, but I'm in for it. I'm on the adventure. He kind of throws himself in peril to save the day, and he's relatably intimidated by that, the scope and the stakes, and almost getting mauled by a Yule Cat. And it's crazy. Give the kid his little Hawkeye moment, and he's set.
It's your lucky day, Yule Cat.
God, that was great.
Dragon, Dan Murrell in his review said that is the point of no return. You're either in for the movie at that point or you're not. I'd say that's accurate, right?
What?
But I'd say that's accurate, right? Like some people I could see how some people could see that and be like, what the hell am I watching? Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, they keep throwing that Yule Cat all over. Like, if you pause or, like, you load the
Oh,
Netflix thing
I noticed that.
it's always the Yule Cat. I don't know why. It's
I
just
don't even think it's that impressive of a design, but they're trying to milk, like, the creature design of it all.
I'm saying. I don't get it, but okay. So that's what I'm saying. Basically, the Jack stuff. It's B plot fodder, but harmless. It's kind of the best way I can summarize it. But again, he represents basically his whole thing represents Kate coming around on the new family. That's the kid's point in the movie. Which again, he's a likable version of it because we can't have Bob go on the adventure. That'd be completely wrong. Like no, we love you. We love you, but you can't be here right now. We don't have room for you.
Right,
Get out of
right.
here. Get out of here, Tyrese.
You're very pleasant in this movie, Tyrese, but you don't, this is
Mr. Gibson will send you macaroons in your trailers. Just wait there patiently, please. Anyway, so yeah, that brings us to of course the man himself. Let's talk Santa Claus. Let's talk always the highlight, Kurt Russell.
I mean, what more is there to say? I feel like he's just absolutely, he's taken what he did in the first movie and just, like, refined it.
I love that not only is he continues to impress. My favorite thing with him in this movie is that we added a couple layers to him, which are really great. Big layer, one, I love how Mrs. Claus calls that his big character flaw.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, it's kind of a flaw in quotes, but it's just something kind of we've always enjoyed in the first movie. We kind of call it, maybe it's not always a great thing. Where he is a bit of a thrill seeker. He enjoys the day, the whole like, get out of your lucky day, Yule Cat. The guy who lives for the dangerous escapades. And again, like, he's the one who's like, yeah, let me lead the cops on a chase through the streets of Chicago. In the Charger. Let me do that. So he's definitely a thrill seeker, and again can kind of lend them some trouble, which may not be appropriate for the situation. But importantly, the biggest thing with Santa Claus in this movie, encompassing that, there's that layer of bluster with possibly my favorite element of the movie. I love the whole surrogate son story between him and Belznickel. Where again, like there's this big pivotal scene with them where it's they're kind of fighting over the Christmas star, over the Star of Bethlehem, and again it's like an age old argument a father and a son have had over like a million bad Christmas dinners,
Right.
It's like the tug of war over like you never made time for me. I bring joy to billions of children. Like, yeah, you're one stupid holiday and you can't give me a little time.
Dragon, it almost kind of reminded me of the dilemma with Phil and Jim Carrey in Kidding. I'm not saying that right, but you know what I mean.
Yes, yeah. Phil
the season one thing where it's like I have to wait in line to meet my own dad.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I really like that we kind of see Santa Claus in kind of a light here of kind of like, we get to see him in a new light in that regard, which is kind of nice. Where again, Santa Claus gets caught up in the bustle. He's a man of big emotions, and in the works, he kind of forgot about the literal little guy in the situation. In these moments, which created a rift, and ultimately, he kind of closes that rift by kind of giving him the gift of the first toy they made together. It's a really nice little story there. Where Santa Claus kind of like. Again, it's the bluster of the father around the holidays. Like, you know what? Maybe I overstepped. I'm sorry. Here's to show you something. I appreciate you. And again, like he always wanted the reconciliation, but he was kind of caught up in the thrill.
You know what's nice about this movie, Dragon, and Santa's stuff is that with a couple characters, with Mrs. Claus, it's kind of giving her more credit and seeing that she's that she really is the brains of the operation. And then with Belznickel, just kind of appreciating the surrogate father of it all. These are both things that could have very easily gone into like cliche, preachy territory, and they don't.
Exactly.
And with the Mrs. Claus stuff, I'm especially refreshed about that, but we'll get into that more when we transition to her character.
Yeah, unless you got anything else on... let's transition to Mrs. Claus, yeah.
All right, so Goldie Hawn, obviously, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, a golden age Hollywood duo, and it's great to see them together. Life. And Dragon, there's one moment in particular that is going to melt my heart every time I watch this movie for my favorite moments. We'll get there, but Goldie Hawn, I think, absolutely kills it and is one of the big highlights of this movie, man. She is just like, she's kind of like an older Vera Farmiga, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's it right there, Tig. Is that she is very much, she's very much kind of the Santa Claus of the last movie for this movie. She's very much kind of the big draw this time around. And again, it's a worthwhile draw. It's not just like, hey, we set her up at the last movie, but no, it's like, hey, we set her up at the last movie, but you're really gonna like her, so enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great. And like I said, I think her presence, does a good job of distinguishing the two kids. Like I like that we have the two kids going with the two different clauses. I think that works out well story-wise. It makes them both more distinct.
Absolutely, and again, there's so much great stuff going for her. One, again, she runs the village. I absolutely adore the layer of. This is the thing that really kind of caught my heart. I'm not trampling over your moment. I know, don't worry, but I'm just saying that on the whole, there's this lovely layer of this loving woman who married a man who's all about making children happy. Yet
absolutely.
Yet they could never have kids because of Santa Claus's powers. Like when he essentially became a saint and he got the star of Star of Bethlehem, they stopped aging. But again, he was like gray. He had the gray beard at that point. I mean, they're too old to have kids, and it basically started taking effect too late in life. And I just love that we get to see her given the opportunity to kind of be the motherly figure you get a sense she always wanted to be.
Yeah, watch yourself. Watch yourself. I'm saying in terms of my moment.
Right. But I mean, later on, too, we have a bit, again, with the whole father-son conflict.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I love that, she's the one splitting them apart, saying, hey, stop fighting right now, guys. Like, she's playing referee to these. Again, it's like she's trying to rein them in for the sake of family. And, she's an excellent cook. She's a great host. She's like, it's basically, my Farmiga, of course, I'm always down for Farmiga comparison. You know what my comparison was for her?
Mm.
She's like a more domestic Miss Frizzle.
A more domestic Miss Frizzle.
Like, take Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, and you make her kind of like the domestic, kind of make her.
Yeah, more, I can picture it.
Yeah.
Took a second for that to set in, but.
Point being, Goldie Hawn, major highlight. All right, so let's talk about kind of our big villain of the piece. Let's talk Belsnickel.
Okay, I really thought that he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are probably drawing a line in the sand over Belsnickel.
I think so. I think so. That's what I've been hearing.
I mean, I could looking at what we're doing. The minute I heard Julian Dennison was announced as a villain for this piece, I knew, okay, some people aren't going to respond well to this. I could already sense it.
I think that Julian Dennison plays against type in this movie, and I think he does a really good job. I think he's having a blast, first of all. Like, yeah. I think he's like on level with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn in terms of just committing to it,
Certainly, and again, you have with Julian Dennison, you also have a little bit of what he did in Deadpool 2, where you have a character who's kind of on the line, where he is. Again, there's an innocence there, but also there is very much like this kid could go bad. In this case, the kid has gone bad, but there's like elements of like he doesn't want to be that way.
Sure.
Or again, he's off the path. He thinks there's no going back, but there absolutely is a way of going back. He's just kind of caught up in it before he can realize that. So that's what I'm saying. Him as the rogue elf, Santa's protege. I love the function of Belsnickel as a villain, where he's not just a mustache twirler, which I think you look at the last movie, we kind of had our generic B-plot villains with like, the hoodlums who were like going to burn the bag of toys, it's like, where here, we don't quite have that. Again, here we have a villain that's actually integral to the plot. And more importantly, the reason I give Belsnickel points for two reasons. Okay, one, he parallels Kate's story in the whole running family amidst changes in the dynamics. That's a great parallel. It's a great idea to kind of make those stories relevant. But again, I love it's not on hammering on the head like, did you see Kate just like Belsnickel? It's like not like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little more natural, and she brings it up, but it's a lot more natural getting there. And two, he serves again as kind of Santa Claus's surrogate troubled son, which adds a level of pathos to the whole Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus kind of children's story of it all.
Mm.
Yeah. A nice arc overall, like it's never too late. And of course, ultimately gets him to return to his back to his little elf form, for better or for worse. I mean, CG wise, but he turns back to a little elf. There you go.
All right.
Right.
So let's make a list and check it twice and find out what parts of this movie are naughty and nice.
All right, you start us off. Which column you want to start from?
I want to take off some naughty stuff because we haven't really gotten into that yet.
Okay.
Okay, was the mall dance really necessary? It was kind of definitely like a first movie.
Okay, well, not a mall. It's an airport, Tiki. But
airport, right. Yeah.
On the whole, I'm so glad you brought it up because here's the thing. My biggest problem with the movie, and this ties in directly to that. It's all around that whole sequence in the movie. One, time travel. The whole time travel side plot is a BS excuse for a song. I said it. Okay, because basically it's a rip-off of Endgame. It's a really, they wanted to get the song in there purely for first movie. And look, going into this, I was assured, they're going to have one of those scenes. Yeah, I knew that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that we do a little bit of a nod to, we do a song because there was a song in the first one. Because how can you not? I wish it was a better song. That's the thing. This one's okay, but I mean, there's simply no topping Santa Claus. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
It's just you're not going to top that, given how great a highlight. That's the reason people keep rewatching the movie. They love that sequence.
It is like the scene of the movie.
It is,
and this is just kind of like dragging its member berries from 2 years ago is what it is.
Because again, it was that strong.
Hey, member.
Right. Again, we basically gave Bill Clinton plays the sax for Santa Claus in that thing. It's iconic.
Right.
So that's all. The whole time travel thing just feels like, okay, I'll give you space because we saw that all over the first minute. It's how it gets from place to place. You can manipulate space, but time? Really? We're just going to go all the way back to the 80s just so we can stick him in an airport? Because we did this whole thing just because we don't have a jail this movie. We're in Santa's village for the duration of the film. So we need to how do we get back to civilization? Time travel, right? No!
It feels like a big old diversion. Exactly. And honestly, it sucks because there is a pivotal character moment within the time travel, so you can't just cut it out.
Exactly, and again, the whole spirit of Christmas thing, just to highlight something. I mean, look, Walt Jonty and Darlene Love, Mrs. Murtaugh from the Lethal Weapon movies, and a great singer. Great a job as she's doing. It's a jaunty little song. Again, just doesn't hold a candle. Santa Claus is coming to town. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a distraction so Kate can land in hot water for plot's sake. And also, I don't buy that cashier would be that astute, especially in the 80s, to catch a counterfeit bill like that.
Well, I actually kind of appreciated that gag because you got to remember, Dragon, our 20s are very, very detailed compared to the old 20s.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to redact my point because you're kind of right.
It's less the 2020 thing, and it's more just like the actual design of the $20 bill.
No, you're right. I mean, I guess you're
all the little emblems and flourishes that the $20 bill has.
Yeah, now. I forgot we had all little flourishes over time. We keep trying to jazz up the $20 bill.
I know we do. It's weird.
Here's an idea. Let's have different demonetizations denominations. I'm thinking something else with money. Sorry, denominations of money. That would be a fresh thing to do, like the $3 bill or something. I don't know. There are better bills to give. I'm just saying, like a $30 bill or something. I don't know, but
Right.
Anyway.
Okay, we should have different presidents on. We should swap out the presidents so they're like trading cards.
I mean, sure, but again, let's have more money and put different faces on it. That's what I'm saying. Let's have a lot of presidents and only so much denominations of money.
God, all right.
Anyway, our money talk aside here, because we're not on Wall Street yet.
No.
Anyway, so okay, I think we doubled down the elves for this movie. I think we can agree on that.
I mean, I don't want to say that they're in minion territory, but they're scratching at the surface of that.
I think the first movie I give the elves a pass in the first movie because everything else is working so well, and it's like, you know what, I mean, they're in there, they're not overstaying their welcome, they're really, they come in, they serve a purpose, okay. But I mean, in Santa's Village, yeah, we're gonna have a lot of elves, but I'm sure the elves as a whole, which of course ties into our main villain, I'm sure that's the thing that divides people. Again, all of this is kind of the big line, and I don't think we need all these elves for the whole B plot thing. Like the elves turn the gremlins essentially for the movie. It's like, really?
Sure, sure.
It's like, do we basically, because here's the thing: if we have elves in the village, they're going to build anything. They're going to build like a new star practically for all we know. They can do anything because they're elves, as we set up in the first movie. So they had to distract them somehow, which I don't know. I just feel it's a big stretch. Let's see. Well, again, we kind of talked about writing characters out like Teddy, which again, it's kind of expect. How did you feel about how they wrote out the parents? Let's talk about the parents a little bit here, unless
I don't mind how they wrote out the parents. I think that it makes perfect sense.
I think the complimentary tickets.
Teddy, I honestly think that Teddy could have gone along.
Really?
I wouldn't have minded it.
I mean, I didn't really think of that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just feels. I don't know.
The way that they write him out feels unceremonious. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I guess the logic, again, bear in mind, it would be more of a rewrite to actually work Teddy. And I'm saying working in the model that we have, it would be like, Teddy would see past the Julian Dennison's character's ruse, possibly, which would have caused a big problem for our premise.
Sure, I agree.
But again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. But the parents, though, of course, perspective in Bob's case. I just feel like we wrote them out really easily with the whole complimentary thing. And the kids kind of had a point in that later scene. Yeah, I mean, they just left for those Mayan ruins like that. Like they really went for the Mayan ruins. I mean, last movie we did the Hallmark thing where we always have to write out the mother and like, oh, she works for a hospital most likely. She's got to go. So that's Christmas, the Christmas shift or something. She's got to go, so we don't have her in the movie, kind of Cat in the Hat style.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it didn't bother me. I don't know why. I can't really
it's okay. I mean,
it's not bothering me.
I mean, we're used to it. I'm just saying it's just a little quicker than usual. It's kind of stuck out to me. I think that's.
I mean, my whole thing is like we had to write them out of the movie, so it's what are you gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing. The Yule Cat. I don't buy that Yule Cat didn't kill Dancer. I mean, that's kind of a problem, right? Where how does it not finish the job and just chow down if its whole imperative was to eat the reindeer? I know it's dark, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right. Oh boy.
Let's brighten up the room here. Let's talk some nice.
All right. I think the move to the North Pole was really, really inspired.
Yeah.
And the world building is excellent. We'll get into it with one of my favorite moments, but just the way the North Pole functions, there's a couple cool little world building details that I really love.
Well, speaking of some that we're not going to bring up later, some of the backstory stuff, like the whole Santa Claus's Bethlehem origins in Turkey.
Right. Yeah, that is I think it works. I think it really works.
Yeah. I mean, I love how biblical it feels, man. That's saying it's really cool. Plus, they use the de-aging tech on for that one scene, apparently. Yeah, which I'm surprised by. Yeah, it's overall we continue with the illogical logic, which I love. Like, I mean, here's just one little example. I mean, I love that Santa Claus makes his own Coca-Cola because he's so dissatisfied with like how he gets betrayed in portrayed in like the billboards and everything. Like, oh, yeah, billboard adds 80 pounds, that sort of thing. He hates it, so he makes it like the accurate Coca-Cola in the North Pole. Great. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. We showcase Santa Claus, the builder. He's like, well, I'll save some of the stuff for your thing later on. But like the veil, for example, like how that whole thing works. The veil is the Aurora Borealis. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Tyrese Gibson. I mean, he's not in the movie long, but he's there. So major points.
I think the ending with Tyrese, he really, really wins a lot of credit with the ending.
That was he was really, that whole, like, he was being really charmed by the Borealis. That was really nice. Malcolm McDowell as the leader of the elves. I mean, I'm down for some Malcolm McDowell anytime.
That's him.
Yeah. No, yeah. Here's the thing: if you look at him, they gave him his eyebrows. He actually his
Uh,
model looked like Malcolm McDowell, which is awesome.
oh, I mean, I'm always down for McDowell too, but that's just trippy.
Absolutely. Let's see. Of course, I love the whole Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus longing for children. That whole thing's great.
Of course.
Basically, on the whole, a big pro I always got to give this franchise. I always love that we're doing a tribute to Kurt Russell's life with so many touchstones and references to the man's life in these films, like Oliver Hudson, the father, the past father in the first movie, and the whole Doug Pierce of it all. Goldie Hawn, and like naming Kate after his like one of his real life daughters. That's really, or possibly his one of the daughters. Yeah, Kate Hudson. Named after Kate Hudson. Yeah. So that's really nice. All that kind of stuff is the continuing tribute to the Russ. I dig that. By the way, one of Kurt Russell's offspring gonna be in the Falcon Winter Soldier show in a big role, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah. All
right. Well, the Bah Humbug game is really funny too. It's the ultimate curse word. It's like the F word. Bah Humbug! You watch your mouth, young elf. A lot of fun stuff. Okay.
All right. Should we give our final thoughts?
Moments, Tiki.
Moments. I'm sorry. All right. Who has the first one chronologically?
I do.
Got it.
All right. So easily my favorite moment in this entire film. It's my big fist pumping, like F yeah moment. Like yes, this is what I'm going to this thing for. Yes. Santa saving Kate and Jack from the cold. I mean, again, it's our big tone-setting moment with the whole Yule Cat thing. What's our introduction to Santa Claus going to be this time? Well, he's trying to stop this Yule Cat from going after the reindeer. Taking the big Grizzly Adams. He's trying to catch this Yule Cat, but more importantly, what stops him from this in a band's like, "I'll get you your lucky day, Yule Cat," is he sees children freezing to death in the Arctic, in the North Pole, and he goes to save them without hesitation. It's like that's a Santa Claus I can get behind any day. Santa Claus saving children. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. It's like you love the saving people thing. It definitely frames Santa in kind of a superhero light.
Yeah.
But it also gives us a lot of great kind of like Grizzly Adams vibes right off the bat.
It's just a perfect reintroduction on all fronts. I mean, that was like a big, like, oh boy, I'm unsure kind of starting in Cancun, but my God, we're in.
Oh, I was absolutely unsure starting in Cancun, Dragon. Oh, man.
Again, there's this, last time we started, like, kind of roughly, that time was Miami, but I'm just saying we started in, like, a tropical setting, was the Kelsey Grammer Christmas movie I watched for July, for Christmas July this year, was like Saint Nick, where he's the Miami-based Santa Claus. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this is going.
All right.
Let's see. So, do we want to go back and forth? Or should I just go forward?
No. Just go through yours.
All right. The cake and cookie dinner scene.
Yeah, it's kind of Hook-esque, right?
It's very Hook-esque. Yeah, it's kind of better than Hook in a sense. And that it's such a charming idea. It's like every kid.
Well, to be fair, the thing that's better about Hook, the thing that's better than Hook, is the fact that the food actually looks appetizing. Like the make believe food actually looks appetizing.
Yeah. Whereas
Hook, it's like it's this goop that then turns into good food. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. But yeah, so it's such a charming idea. It's an idea like kids love. I love it, man. I want this to be a reality. Why can't this be a reality?
I want broccoli-based cake. I want that at like fucking Epcot or something, and I could see them pulling it off.
That's what I'm saying. This is a charming idea of like the most appetizing and quote unquote healthy feast ever, where it's basically all the healthy foods that every kid dreads, but they're dressed up and basically somehow reformulated so they taste like the best cakes ever. Cakes and cookies and everything, and it looks just absolutely delightful. And the scene has that going for which I'm already charmed by. That's what puts
it looks delicious, but it still looks believably like a cake made out of broccoli, though.
Yeah, it looks. The whole list, like the corn and it was a lima beans and carrots, I guess, or something. That looks like a brownie cake or something. It's like, oh my god, like how do they manage it? And then like I even with look at Santa Claus. Santa Claus is like eating like a gingerbread, like a gingerbread man with like little frosting on his head. It's like, oh, it looks delicious. Look at that. So that already is cool, but I also love the pathos of the scene too, where like the kids are asking to stay the night, and Santa Claus he kind of sees his wife, like he's he's seeing that his wife would love the feeling of having children in their home for the night, and it's a nice scene with a dash of pathos, you know.
Sure, sure.
Lastly, the end game moment of Doug Pierce. So.
Unfortunately, we need the time travel to get to this, but, we'll take it.
While I don't condone the time travel in this film, I do appreciate Kate getting closure, because, again, closure is a big part of the film, and this scene definitely clinches it. Like, Teddy got his closure in a really classy way at the end of the last movie. So Kate gets something of her own that's even more personal. So, also the kid is perfectly cast as Doug, because that kid just looks like Oliver Hudson. It's perfect.
Right.
Like, I absolutely buy that as the younger version of Oliver Hudson as young
Dragon.
Doug.
It's also a little disquieting that a kid in 1990 could be a dead dad now, because I'm turning 30 and everything, right?
I think it's 1986, Tiki.
No, it's 1990.
Okay.
It just, in 1990 was the year I was born, and so someone who was a child then could now be a dead dad. Dragon, I'm old and I'm going to die.
Well, now you just bummed us all out, so thank you. But, just getting back to the whimsy here, if I can.
It's coming up in a week, Dragon, almost, like, just over a week. Over a week.
Well, let me something nice in the will, would you? Anyway, so no, I also love the button to the scene where Santa Claus is like instilling the true believer spark in Doug, which obviously is going to inform the whole true believer and the video camera thing with him and the kids and everything. It's really sweet, man. Like, note to self, always bring a video camera everywhere. It's a really nice moment between the two of them. It brings a tear to the eye. It's beautiful. Is it BS getting there? Absolutely. Is it? Yes.
All right. Okay, my moments. So I love touring the workshops, and I say workshops plurally, Dragon. It's such a simple little world building idea, but I don't think I've ever seen it in any other North Pole. We've seen giant workshops before, but we haven't seen a series of workshops.
We use Santa's village very casually, and let me put it this way. Santa Claus, we've seen just a generic village. We get their house, there's like a giant factory, but it's pretty much it. But this is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea that, like, all the ins and outs of this whole village is devoted to different parts of toy making.
You know what the coolest thing about this village is?
What?
Santa Claus has this great line where he basically says, this village is like, what if you quadrupled the output, even if you quadrupled the output of Amazon, FedEx, UPS, the Postal Service, and pretty much everything else combined, that'll get close. That'll be about half of what we do here. That's astonishing. Basically, there's 300,000 shops and like buildings in this place that Mrs. Claus designed. And also, by the way, I meant to mention this in nice. I love the whole runner of Mrs. Claus's village. I love that runner. I think it's really
Dragon. Like I said, it's something that could easily get politicized, and it doesn't.
It's plus, again, the way we play it is just right. Where Santa Claus is like, well, I mean, I found in the Elves build, he does have kind of a claim there, but by the same token, she put in the work. It's like,
right.
Yeah, maybe he loves his wife. You buy it, and then later on, everyone's like, wait, really? And Mrs. Claus is like, yeah, I don't know about it either, but it's right. So it's like I don't know. Look, I mean, I want the simplicity, but you know what?
Santa's village just rolls off the tongue. I don't know what to tell you.
I know that's the thing. It's simple.
It's branding, man.
It is. It's built in, but you respect it though. The man loves his wife, of course. Yeah, come on. It's fair.
Oh. Transition. Unless you have anything else to say about the workshops.
No, just the workshop's awesome. My favorite detail in the workshop, the screening Elf for free in a little
oh my god, I love that.
Little Polaris theater. It's very prominent. You can see this. I love they're dropping another really great Christmas movie. It's great.
All right, so Yeah, Santa loves his wife, Dragon, and we see that illustrated so well. And Dragon, this is what I'm saying, like, in terms of, like, Kurt Russell, he's not phoning it in by a long shot. He's not just putting on some Grizzly Adam get up and, just kind of calling it a day. He is acting, man. He is acting in this movie. And the moment for me that really stuck out, that really made me say, like, oh man, Kurt Russell's, like, going even beyond and beyond what he was doing in the first one with this performance. The moment where he steps away and just lets Mrs. Claus read the bedtime story to the kids, and he just has this quiet acknowledgement of, like, man, my wife has waited so long for this moment, and I'm so happy for her. Dragon, it's beautiful, man. It's easily, to me, the most heartwarming moment in the whole thing.
I mean, in a sense, he's able to give his wife the gift that he could never give her just for a day. And how beautiful is that?
And that's what I'm saying, Dragon. It's like the acting on Kurt Russell's face. It's a fleeting moment.
I love the layers.
It's honestly a moment that you almost kind of have to actively be looking for, right? But it's there, and the emotion is so rich on his face, and oh man.
I'm going to go as far as to say the closest we've ever gotten to, like, a layer like this with the whole Santa Claus myth has been Klaus, with the whole, with Klaus's backstory.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, Dragon, this is just kind of like the toygenic guy in me coming out. I fucking love Belsnickel's sleigh.
Yeah, why is that?
I love the design, like how the exterior of it is like a steam train. I love the jackal coyote reindeer. Just the idea that Belsnickel can create a sleigh that runs like Santa's sleigh with the same technology as Santa's sleigh, but is just obviously a shoddy knockoff.
There's a line that Kurt Russell has, I think, crystallizes why that sleigh, based on the whole scene, that's just really great. It's what differentiates Belsnickel from Santa Claus, is that Belsnickel's all functionality, where Santa Claus, like, basically he has no craftsmanship. And that's the thing, Belsnickel's all functionality, which basically that thing is cool enough, and it gets him where he needs to go, and it's kind of like, again, the kid, again, he built, as much as I hate it, he built the time machine that runs on batteries.
Right.
Doc Brown can't even do that. but again, doesn't have the craftsmanship and just kind of the glory of Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's be honest. That's what I'm saying. It's all.
No, it doesn't. But I think that's the point, though. Dragon.
I know you're right. That's
like
the
side of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the way that Belsnickel just kind of comes out of nowhere on his sleigh, and it's kind of like peak. The peak of his performance of just chewing the scenery and just really enjoying being the bad guy. Like, basically everything after this scene is going to be, like, slowly unraveling his redemption arc. This is really the peak of Belsnickel in villain mode. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would, because again, he sends Santa back in time. Presumably he won't be able to. Well, again, he knows he's going to be able to come back. Just he imagines he won't be able to make it back in time.
Oh, by the way, the one thing I do appreciate with the time travel gag is, how Santa and Kate just reappear at the exact moment they disappear.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's great. And that's what I'm saying. Also, I love in that earlier scene where they're playing the tug of war with the Star of Bethlehem. I love the gravity gun again with the toy etiquettes, the gadgets of it all. I love that. The Belsnickel builds that gravity glove, which is awesome. Again, not as charming as like Santa Claus using magic, but again, it's the difference between.
But that's what I'm saying, Dragon. I really appreciate, like I said, just the steampunk like steam train that he has, the carriage. It all looks really cool. Yeah. Definitely dingy, but a cool kind of dingy.
Yeah.
All right. So, Dragon, let's get our final thoughts.
Yeah.
You go first.
I don't feel I don't feel this is quite the modern holiday classic the last film was, but it's a fine continuation. Truly, it's a fine continuation. It's nice to flesh out this Kurt Russell Santa Claus's world, and of course introducing Mrs. Claus and all the other cool stuff we talked about, again, the Star of Bethlehem, the whole, the Veil, Borealis, all that sort of stuff. And again, story's a little, again, in so many respects, the story is tighter than the first one, where again, we have the first movie is all about us getting to know these characters. That's what the first one is, as many first movies are. And there's something to appreciate there. But again, that had like the magic of that first time, the magic of Santa Claus, like building the belief in other people. Which, again, to be fair, we've seen before in other things, but not quite with that cool spin on it that we had in Christmas Chronicles. That's kind of made it stick out. So we don't do that here again, which I kind of commend it for. So in that regard, I mean, again, I'm not coming down on it like a lot of people are saying it's bad, but I'm saying it's like some people are saying it's the worst thing ever. Some people are saying like, which I don't get. How can you say that when you have like Russell and Goldie Hawn just charming the pants off you in this movie? But it's it's again, I think we tighten things up narratively, but again, we kind of lax. Like, honestly, it does boil down to the whole. This movie's functional, but it kind of lacks the craftsmanship of the first movie. I keep reusing the analogy, but it kind of works. I don't know. That's the thing. It's nice. It's a solid sequel. I'm on board for more if we get past the Pierce family going forward, because again, we've kind of reached the end of that story.
Yeah, final thoughts from my end, Dragon. I think I'm pretty much in your camp. I honestly think I might like it a little bit more than you do, because I think maybe I appreciate the weirder elements of this movie a little bit more. But, I mean, by that same token, it's definitely not the first movie. I do like that it takes risks, though. I do like that, in spite of reusing the Pierce family, it definitely doesn't feel like a repeat of the first movie. What, honestly, if we used a different family and just did the kind of a similar plot to the first movie, it would have felt maybe too similar.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
So I think this is a happy medium. We're using the same characters, but we're telling a story that's actively building out the world. And based on what we saw from the first movie, I think that the world was worth exploring, and the details that we did get, I think do flesh it out. So yeah, in that regard, Dragon, I think it's a successful sequel. It's not, it's not going to be iconic like the first one, but I do think it's going to be a solid kind of like Wayne's World 2 type situation, honestly. I
that's
think
a good way
that's
of looking at it.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I'd put it.
That's fair.
All right, so let's peek under the wrapping paper, Dragon. What do we have next?
Oh boy, let me shake it here. Should I tease him or should I just tear it off? What do you think?
Just tear it off.
I'm gonna tear it off! I'm gonna shake the box! It feels all Lego-y. Let me rip it off! Oh my goodness, Tiki! Oh, look what we got! We got the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. Oh my god!
Oh my god, dude. You sounded so dapper and delighted just then. Look what we got! Yes, the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. It's been out for a while. Dragon and I have been saving it for this very occasion. Gonna go live with it sometime this weekend or sometime next week, right?
Yes, it should be. Yeah, it'll be after the new Mando, essentially.
After the new Mando, yes.
After our coverage of Mando, yeah.
All right, so look forward to that, folks. It's been a swell time. All right.
Have
folks. You seen it yet, Dragon?
I have not.
You have not? All right, yeah, so we're going to go in fresh on that because I haven't seen it either. Okay, well,
All right.
Yeah,
all right, kids.
Take us out.
Thank you. Time to dash away all, but as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
For even more seasonal shenanigans.
Watch your mouth, young elf.